So coming up to face the starter now. Simon Hunter on pole, Lane Moore second. And it looks like Lane's got ahead of him, has he?
Yes.
Oh,
It's Argy Bargy.
Pushing and shoving there. This is the first time Simon Hunter's not been in the lead of one of these Yamaha races, so he won't be happy with that. Bradley Terrell's up to third there, sorry.
And Zach Salim's got pushed back into 4th position. And it's a restart. Simon Hunter did have his hand up going to that line, so probably wasn't happy.
What that is that maybe for the for Lane Moore being a bit too far ahead, maybe, because he did get a really good jump on that start.
He did.
Aggressively pushing Simon over to that inside of the circuit.
But you do what you got to do to win a national championship, don't you, Richard?
Absolutely, especially in this Yamaha class. These boys like to push each other around, so it's going to be a stonker of a race.
So here we come again. To the starting line. Let's see if this is a better start. It looks much cleaner. And Simon Hunter's got away. So Simon Hunter, Zach Sloom's trying to follow him through, but Lane Moore's pushing him, and Bradley Till's coming around the outside. But they all stay line astern as they go up the hill.
Moore's really putting the pressure on Hunter early. It's not worked out for him, and you can see there, like we mentioned before, he's not made it stick and he's lost out.
I think they need to get onto Hunter early, just like Marcus Armstrong, they did with Marcus Armstrong. It seemed to pay off, so let's see what Lane can do in these first couple of laps. Also, Zach is there as well. Bradley Till is there, maybe dropped a fraction on that lap.
Tyrrell certainly seems a lot more aggressive in this race, so maybe he's got a bit more, that he's not played his cards in these first few races.
Yes, very experienced Bradley Till. Normally races a sprint car up in Auckland, but has come back to karting.
And the sun's blaring down now. We're getting a fair whack of sun in the eyes down here.
Feel like a coffee bean getting roasted, Richard.
Much like that, mate.
But Lane Moore's right on the back of Simon Hunter. Zach Salim's got a bit of breathing space between himself and Bradley Tyrrell, but Bradley Tyrrell's not giving an inch as he comes around down past the pits.
Brendan Hart's right on the back of Tyrrell here, so it'll be interesting to see if he can stick on the back.
Unfortunately,
he's a very experienced driver himself.
He is. Unfortunately, Kartsport superstar Aaron Cunningham's down in 9th, so he's not looking to make any progression in this final.
I'd say Aaron's probably waiting for the guys up the front to have an issue. That must be his tactic.
It'll be interesting to read his excuse this time.
And that's...
oh, it looks like Lane Moore. He's gone down the inside of Simon Hunter. Lane Moore's made his move early, but Simon Hunter's got him on the crossover, and that's allowed Zach Saloom to be right up. So we've got a three-car breakaway.
Again, they're going to have to be careful that they don't get themselves stuck back with those other guys.
Yes, very impressive. Very impressive, Brendan Hart. He's keeping up with his Bradley Till here. They do have his younger brother Josh Hart, who has been running world champions over in Europe, setting up that kart, so that kart will be on rails for this final. So Brendan Hart has no excuses.
Yeah, and Brendan's not afraid to throw it in. If he can get up onto the back of them, he'll be the first to make a move.
And as Simon Hunter gets a little bit of a gap off the lead, I think it's going to be a bit of a strategic game between those three. Let's see if they fight early or if they're sensible and get away from the pack.
And Zaloom's looking really strong here. That last lap, he was fastest of those front three by a couple of tenths, so he's looking good. He's right on the back bumper of Moore.
They need to work together here. Otherwise, they'll have the likes of Bradley Till and Brendan Hart right behind him. Sean Ray and Aaron DeRidder, North Island champion, 6th and 7th respectively. They would have liked to come up through to the top bunch, but unfortunately their track position, or they're probably the starting position, didn't see that happen.
Lane Moore now, he's got right back on to Hunter there. We've got 12 laps to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a battle of who's got the strongest end and whose kart lasts the longest. What about you, Richard?
Yeah, it's they've been very equally matched so far. I'm wondering whether One of them's maybe set their card up to run a bit earlier. A little bit of a hop there from Simon Hunter, so that's not a good sign with still, 12 laps to go.
And they are starting to drop Zach now. As Lane Moore's got under Simon Hunter, Zach Zaloom tries to go around the outside. Is he going to make it? Is he going to finish it off?
It looks like he's made it stick there. Zaloom up to second and Moore now leading.
So Hunter is back from first to third. Both Lane Moore and Zach Zaloom's got through to the top 2 positions, but it'll be interesting to see what Simon Hunter does if Zach Zaloom and Simon Hunter start fighting. That's just going to allow.
This is playing exactly into Lane Moore's hands now.
But Zach looks quick. They've pulled Lane Moore.
He's certainly not getting away, so it'll be important now for Zach to stick on the back of lane and get on the inside of him somewhere.
Zach definitely looks quick here. Don't count him out of this.
See, this is interesting to see. Zach was nowhere in the first heat and the second heat, but now he's right up there, and he's looking good to win this.
Yes, that Tony Kart team definitely got his kart handling better as the days progressed. So we've got an OK1 chassis in the lead, followed by a Tony Kart, then an Arrow. So we've got 3 chassis manufacturers in the top 3.
They're all looking around to make sure they know.
And Brendan Hart goes up to, he had a go, but Brady Toole closed the door on him. Simon Hunter looks like he's just cutting his tyres off maybe in that 3rd position. Waiting for something to happen between Zach and Lane Moore.
Still 10 laps to go, so a lot of work to be done by these guys. And no one's getting away.
Be interested to see if they don't crash, because if they do crash, like we saw in the cadet final.
And was that Hunter down the inside of Zaloom, and he's given him a little wave as well. Let's go and get him. Let's go get this Aussie.
Yes, we don't want another Aussie winning our national championship, do we, Richard?
No, not at all. Not at all.
But it is good that they're coming down. It proves that New Zealand competition is right up there with the best. Lane Moore, a very competitive kart racer, and got a good team behind him there at IPK Karting.
Coming down from Australia, it seems that, particularly in this class, Yamaha Heavy, the standard of driving is lifted. It was only a few years ago when the likes of, Aaron Cunningham, our resident superstar, was at the front, and now he's, a lowly 12th on track. So
yeah, not taking anything away from Aaron Cunningham.
Oh
but
no, he is a superstar. But yeah, these guys are, they're very competitive drivers.
Simon Hunter now on the back of Lane Moore, so he's probably cooling his tyres off there for a couple of laps, and now he's making the charge with 8 laps to go.
Certainly seems a lot more settled than it was a couple of laps ago.
They have dropped Zach Zaloom now. So Zach Zaloom struggling to keep up with the front 2. Lane Moore in the lead, Simon Hunter in P2.
And this is typical of these senior heavies. We're likely to see a big move with a few laps to go.
Yes, and Zach Zaloom could get opportunity knocks here in this final.
Yep, we've seen it before today. Accidents have dictated a result.
And he runs the defensive line with 8 laps to go, Lane Moore. So he knows Simon's there, and Simon's all over the back of Lane Moore.
Look, there's nothing wrong with Lane running that tight line. It just means he's going to be slow. And Simon won't be too happy with him if he's going to run it for the next.
Could get a bit argy-bargy like you mentioned before, Richard.
Yeah, exactly.
Still being very sensible with these Yamaha heavy drivers.
It looks like, yeah, as you mentioned, Zaloom's just dropping off a bit more now.
Definitely, the front 3 are definitely pulling away now, as we expected. Lane Moore in the middle of the track, trying to make his car as wide as possible, as Hunter's trying to do the crossover and the sweeper, but it's not going to happen. He's picking where he's going to make his move. I think he's just waiting for Lane Moore to make a mistake. He doesn't want to show his car too early in this 17-lap Yamaha heavy final.
Exactly. With these karts, not as much power as some of the others, so getting a draft and being in second can often mean it's easier to win with 2 laps to go.
So if we look down the field, we see Aaron Dorita, our North Island champion, in 7th place, ahead of Scott Waters and our South Island champion Josh King, as we've got some action, but we can't quite see it, and it's Simon Hunter
He's
got to the lead, pointing, and he's trying to get Lane Moore to go with him. They are scared about Zach Zaloom getting in the mix there.
Interesting tactic. I'm not sure if Lane Moore's gonna help him out there.
Two very fierce competitors as Lane Moore is all over the back of Simon, but Zach Zaloom's still there. Because they're fighting, Zach Zaloom has managed to hold his third position and hasn't dropped too far back. As you can see, a huge lead now back to the likes of Bradley Tyrrell and Brendan Hart, Sean Ray and Aaron DeRitter. So it's going to be 4 laps to go as they come across the line now. All driving defensive in the middle of the track. Is Lane Moore going to have a look? He does. He has a half look. That was going to be costly. It didn't pay off.
He's not going to make it happen if he only puts his nose in that much.
Yes. So, Simon Hunter, Lane Moore, Zach Zaloom, your top 3 in this final of 100cc Yamaha Heavy. It's been non-stop as we go to 4 laps to go. So we'll see what the lap times are this lap. Looks like they're all pretty equal. Simon Hunter did 8, Lane Moore 9, Zach Zaloom 9. But Lane Moore and Simon Hunter are fighting, so that's allowing Zach Zaloom to keep on the back of these two.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's got the pace to stick with them, but they're helping him out by doing that.
And it looks like there's a argy-bargy. Zach Zaloom's got a run on Lane Moore. One of them must have had an attack down at the bottom hairpin. We can't quite see from our commentary box.
This could play into Zach's hands here.
Yeah, it's put Zach right back in it now. So it's a 3-way battle once again for the lead.
And Zaloom is the current Rotax Heavy champ. He's a very good little driver. He said he wasn't going so well in the Yamaha, but he's right on the back of these guys now.
There's 2 laps to go. Oh, Lane Moore makes a late dive. These two are going to have a problem.
Up the inside there.
These two are going to have a problem if they keep doing stupid dives like that. What do you think, Richard?
Well, look, it's played right into Zach's hands there, just like I said. And you know, Lane Moore looked like he had the speed to win, but he's not going to be able to do it from back there in third.
Don't forget, Bradley Tyrrell and Brendan Hart still there in 4th and 5th. These 3 have a tangle up. Those 2 could take opportunity knocks, even though they're a zillion miles behind. So we're going to have 1 lap to go. So Simon Hunter leads, followed by Zach Zaloom, Lane Moore.
Is Zach going to put a big dive, or is Lane Moore going to dive on?
I think Zach's got to be careful with Lane Moore here. Is Lane going to have a look? No, he doesn't.
Surprising there. I thought that Lane would have had a look down there.
As they go across the back straight, Zach's going to have to defend here. Oh, Lane Moore does the dive. Lane Moore underneath Zach Zaloom. Zach Zaloom gets him on the crossover, the side-by-side as they go up the hill. Simon Hunter's definitely got this in the bag now. It's a battle between 2nd and 3rd. As they come down here, there's Simon Hunter. There's Zach Zaloom. Lane Moore right under him. Zach Zaloom trying to make his cut as wide as possible as they come down to the last corner. And you can see Simon Hunter's going to take his...
side by side.
And it's Simon Hunter that wins it side by side. And it's Zach Zaloom that takes it by 0.047 of a second.
Half a tenth of a second for Lane Moore down in 3rd.
So your order is Simon Hunter wins his another national title in the Yamaha Heavy class. Zach Zaloom in 2nd, Lane Moore in 3rd, Bradley Tyrrell in 4th, Brendan Hart in 5th, Sean Ray in 6th, and that's your top 6 in a very interesting race, Richard.
Absolutely. Look like Simon's again showed his class in defending his national title. Zach and Lane have had a great battle there at the end, and it's it's great to have these guys that are racing over in Australia regularly coming over here, and we can give them a good run.